Hey, what's up? It's been a while, but if you know, if you've seen my recent content lately, I have been really getting into the One Piece TCG. I am in love with this game. I've been playing it a lot. I've been collecting a lot, as you might have seen in my previous videos. Like I pulled this Sabo in one of my videos. Go check it out. And yeah, I am absolutely in love with this game. I love it. So it's only a matter of time until I played my very first tournament, which was today. I played my very first tournament ever today. It was meant to be a release tournament for starter decks 15 through 20, but didn't work out. They didn't have enough product, so I ended up just being a regular One Piece tournament. So, let me tell you how it went. So, going into this tournament, I planned a lot. I practiced a lot. I was expecting to play one of the new starter decks. The one I was hoping to play is Blue Dofi. Now, with Blue Dofi, I practiced a lot on the One Piece Simulator. I played just about every other starter deck I could. I played the Luffy, I played the Whitebeard, I played the Smoker, I played whatever I could to get some practice in. And I felt like I had a pretty good grasp on the deck and my opponent's possible decks and how to beat those decks. But they didn't have enough product. So, my results was 3D 2Y starter deck 14 Luffy. Granted, not a bad starter deck. This is actually a decent starter deck. Maybe not the best now because starter deck 15 through 20, but I was running starter deck 14 Luffy. Now, for the record, I have played a lot of starter deck 14 Luffy as it is one of the few starter decks that I own. So I've been playing a lot with that one, and I have two more starter decks, but they're not as good. Probably the best starter deck I own currently is that starter deck 14 Luffy. So I have a good grasp on the deck. The only card I've added to it since I bought it is a Who's Who. I forgot the cost, so I'll put it up on screen here. But I only added a Who's Who, which actually did kind of help me with its 2K counter, but we'll get into that later. I was not prepared to play starter deck 14 Luffy. I practiced 3 nights, I think, before. I played 3 different nights. I played Dofi on and on and on against every deck I possibly could because I wanted to get good at the Dofi. So I was not ready to play against these decks, but I knew I was like, okay, it's fine. Play starter deck Luffy is what it is. My opponents, maybe they don't know. Maybe they'll play whatever. My opponents very much were ready for this change. They were very much ready to play their own decks. Okay, so it had been settled. Playing starter deck 14 Luffy, we got there, and I started seeing everybody else's decks. Now, I was getting worried because I saw the other decks. People were pulling out Jewelry Bonnies, they were pulling out Anels, there was a Black Lucci, it was looking very, very scary. But I went in, I was like, maybe I can figure something out. You know, I've played a few of these decks on The Sims, so I know for the most part how they work. Maybe I can figure something else out. So, first round comes along. My first opponent is my brother, who was there with me. So, first round was a mirror match with 3D2Y Luffy as he was playing it too. So, we play the match, all is going well, comes down very, very low. Very, very low life on both of our ends. The thing that saves me is my 2K counter, Who's Who. Very luckily, I added that. I was trash talking it before we got arrived. I was saying maybe I shouldn't have added it. I don't know how good it will be. Ended up being very, very good on my app. So, going into the second round, I was 1-0. After that round, I was like, okay, I'd played my brother before, so it wasn't a very big win, but still, a win is a win. So I was like, okay, maybe I can ride this high. Look on my phone to see my next opponent, and I see Whistling. I'm like, okay, I'll go ask who that is, because I didn't know anybody really there, but they're all regulars. So I was like, okay, I'll ask around. I asked one, I'm like, oh yeah, he knows him. I was like, oh cool. And he's like, oh, you mean the Menace. Sorry, I must have misheard you. The what now? The Menace. My first real opponent was named the Menace. His title is the Menace. How am I gonna win this? So I walk over to the table with my little rinky-dink 3D2Y Luffy deck to meet the Menace. And the first thing I see is Doodle Bob wearing a chopper hat. First thing he says to me, hey, I'm the Menace. And so I'm like, hey, I'm Nolan. I don't have a title like the Menace. And he's like, oh, don't worry about the title. I needed to worry about the title. Anyway, we sit down. I will look at his deck. He's playing Vinsmoke Raiju, who is a blue and purple deck. Now, I'd played this deck in the sim before. I kind of knew what was going on. Basically, I knew I was in for a rough match. So, I saw the Vinsmoke Raiju get pulled up. I was like, okay, I've played this deck before. I know how to play a little bit, kind of. I was a little experienced with this deck. I don't know exactly how to play and how it works because it's kind of complicated. But I was like, okay, you know what? It's whatever. I'm playing the Menace. So, you know, maybe it's just a funny little nickname. So, we start playing. And this is when I eventually start learning how he got the title, the Menace. So, after maybe 1, 2, maybe 3 turns, he plays Vinsmoke EG. Now, Vinsmoke EG's ability is activated by minusing 1 Dawn, which, in normal terms, you'd take a Dawn, put it back in your deck, and you just have to wait to draw it till next turn. I was not prepared for what the Menace was about to do. Upon playing this card and activating his ability, the Menace draws his Dawn, takes his Dawn, rips that sucker up, takes it into 4 pieces, tosses it in a pile, and looks at me. And he's like, this is why I'm the Menace. Holy shit. He just ripped that Dawn card. I don't know what that Dawn card did. Is it a criminal in 5 countries? I don't know. Maybe he's a felon. I don't know. That Dawn card is dead. Donzo. He's never going to play the Dawn card again. I look over it. He's got a stack of Dawn still ready to go. I'm like, oh my god. He's going to kill these Dawn cards. So the Dawn card's dead. I am in awe of what just happened. Mr. Doodlebob in the chopper helm head is laughing because I guess the murder of these poor innocent Dawn is just the funniest thing ever. He's a murderer. He murders the Dawn cards. This is the biggest massacre I've seen ever in a One Piece game. So as we play, more and more Dawn are tragically losing their lives. I am struggling to keep up with the amount of Ichiji's, Raiju's, all the Vinsmokes are everywhere. There's so many Vinsmokes. I didn't see this many Vinsmokes when I was watching Whole Cake Island. There were so many. But as time went on, I slowly lose life, and I'm unable to counter the final attack, thus earning me my first loss of the tournament. Alas, the Menace had defeated me. He had taken another victim, but I was not the only victim in this. The real victims were the Dawn cards that tragically lost their life during this game. I don't know how many Dawn cards he killed. Over 5 at the least. I just pray that those Dawn are in a better place now. Moving on from the tragic round that was round 2 into the round 3. Now, I look at my opponent, very regular name, Texas Pieces. I'm not worried about it. Nobody tells me he's got an extra title like the Destroyer of Dawn or the Murderer or anything like this. No title, just this guy. So I walk up to him. I'm like, hey, how's it going? He plops down an alt art of the OPO1 Doflamingo, which is going like $300 right now. So we're talking about it. I'm asking how he gets it. Doesn't really matter. He's got some very expensive cards in this deck. But the important thing to note here, it's Blue Doflamingo. Now, I had been practicing with Blue Dopey, so I'm thinking, okay, I at least know somewhat what he's going to be trying to do here. Granted, I'm playing starter deck Luffy, so I don't know how well this is going to go, but I at least have an idea of how this deck works. For the first rounds, starting good, until he pulls out the Boa Hancock. Now, the Boa Hancock is a 4-cost, 6,000 power blocker, which is very scary when you're playing a starter deck 14 Luffy who really doesn't have any counters to a blocker. So, he gets 2 of them on the field, which is already a big hassle, and then he starts working on blocking my attacks and all this stuff. So eventually, I do unfortunately lose to the Blue Doflamingo, as he also has some Gecko Morias to pull stuff out of his trash. Again, they're SP Gecko Morias, which are very expensive. This guy had a lot of expensive cards. It was wild. But really nice guy. I ended up losing, taking my second loss. I'm 1-2 now. Going into the fourth and final round, it's not looking good. I'm 1-2 right now. I look at my phone, see the rankings. Somebody is 3-0. I'm not looking too good, but maybe my final opponent will bring me some grace. So I go on to find my final opponent. Look who he's playing, and he's playing Black Lucci. Now, when you've spent 3 different nights practicing for a tournament, you're bound to find some Black Luccis. So I've played my fair share against Black Lucci. Black Lucci, your main goal is to KO opponents and their characters. So I kind of knew what I was looking at going into this. So first couple rounds, going pretty normal. He plays the 1-cost Spandam, the Searcher, to look for more cards. Gets a Rob Lucci, the 4-cost Rob Lucci. And I have my poor little 3-cost blocker Nami. She gets annihilated, KO'd. We keep going. I can't get any blockers out. And then he plays the Jack. Jack is scary for a Lucci deck. He is beefy. He can KO. He's got Lucci. This is not looking good. It's not looking good for me at this point. I look. He's got Jacks. He's got Rob Lucci. It's scary. I look down at my hand and I see my saving grace. That's right. 5-cost Frankie from Starter Deck 14. Now, Frankie cannot be KO'd by opponent's effects if he has 1 Dawn. This is my saving grace. I realize this. I think he does too, because once I place down the Frankie, he looks at it and he says, oh, okay then. So, I have a plan. Looking at my hand, earlier in the game, I thought I was screwed. I had 3 Frankies. No, I had 2 Frankies, and then I pulled another Frankie later on. I'm thinking, oh no, this is not going well. But upon finding my new strategy of the not being able to be KO'd by opponent effects, I think I'm able to have the upper hand here. If I'm able to get enough Frankies on the board in time, that's 6,000 power. I just need to whittle down his hand, get my Frankies out on the board fast, and then I might have a shot at beating Black Lucci. So, as the game keeps going, I get down a few of his life. He plops down the 5-cost, I believe, blocker Sabo, which is scary, but it's okay. It's only a $20 card right now on TCG Player, I think. And it's fine. It's just a blocker. I can take care of it. I get my second Frankie down, and it's then my opponent realizes, uh-oh, I see what you're trying to do here. You can't be KO'd. Your Frankie can't be KO'd. So I'm realizing, okay, maybe I have a shot here. I'm trying to get these Frankies out. Jack is still there. I'm not worried about it. I get my blocker Nami KO'd again. It's fine. It's whatever. We keep playing. I try to get more of his life. And then it's my turn. He's got 1 life left. This means all I have to do is survive this final wave of attacks. And maybe, just maybe, my Frankie can pull it off. So, I look at my hand. I've got a lot of good counters here. I just need to survive 3 attacks. I'm able to survive the first wave of attacks. And now, I have time to aim for his final life. I use all my counter cards on that final attack. I'm ready to go. But then, this is when I realize that wasn't his final attack. I failed to calculate the Rob Lucci leader who hadn't been used yet. My opponent has a lot of Dawn left to go. I have no life. I had just used all my counters on the final attack. He swings at life with Rob Lucci and a lot of Dawn. Alas, I lost my last and final round. 1-3. My first One Piece tournament, I did terrible. Granted, I wasn't ready to play against all these decks. But, with all that being said, I had a really great time. Everything I said in this, making fun or being like goofy about all the other players, just all good fun. Just trying to make it dramatic for the video. And yeah, the Menace was actually a really good guy. Everybody was really cool with me. They even told me how to build the deck better. And they gave me some tips of getting into the hobby because I'm still relatively new to One Piece and cards in general. I am not very big on card collecting before this, but they're giving me some tips, telling me about their experience. They even told me about, hey, I bought these cards. Here's a good place to buy them. All that fun stuff. They were all really nice. And Weezing, the Menace, actually ended up being the winner of the tournament. So I congratulate him. He did amazing. I am very, very happy I got to meet some of these guys. And at the end of the day, I did get some participation packs. So for my first pack, I got this 3-cost Tony Chopper, which got a cool art of it, of his one of his forms. I forget the name of that one. Then we got a promo card of Beppo on there. He was the character on the card pack. And then for my event pack, I pulled another Tony Chopper release event card. I don't know if I can focus on there. Whatever. But yeah, there's my release event for Tony Chopper. So yeah, that was my first experience playing in a One Piece tournament. I am definitely going to go back, but I need to build a deck. And I am looking at a very certain somebody for OP09. OP09 will be my set. I will try to win a tournament. I will try to beat one of those opponents. If I ever see the Menace again, I will get my revenge. I will try. One of these days, I want to win a match against the Menace. Hoping that he's a casual there, he goes there often. It seemed like he was. I hope one day I can defeat the Menace. And the leader, I'm going to be playing an OP09. Don't really want to say it, but I'll give you a hint. He may be missing an arm, and his hair might be a little bit red. Anyways, guys, I hope you kind of enjoyed this new style of video I'm kind of trying out. I kind of want to make this a fun, little dramatic video just to make it more exciting and fun. I'm definitely going to try and compete in more tournaments. All jokes aside, I did amazing. I have an amazing time. Again, all of them were all very nice. And at the end of the day, I got a Tony Chopper. I love Chopper. And yeah, it was overall a really fun experience. I ordered the starter deck for Luffy and Doffy, so I'll be opening those on the channel very, very soon. And in a few weeks, we have PRB1 to release, and I'm hoping to buy a box for that and open that on the channel as well. Anyways, guys, I hope you all enjoyed. If you did, please drop a like. It actually does really help the channel a lot. And if you're not already subscribed, it's free. And if you don't like anything you can find, then it's always free to unsubscribe. But surely you can see some videos on my channel that you like. Also, if you guys have any suggestions for any videos that you'd like to see, drop them down in the comments below. I'm looking at some newer types of content still. I definitely want to go more into the anime side of content, I'm thinking. I'm not sure how I'm feeling about the gaming side. I might do some more live streams. And yeah, we'll see how I'm feeling about some of the other content. Anyways, I'll see you all in the next one. Bye-bye.